Alright, so Comic-Con 2025 has come and gone with next to no fanfare really. Nothing really seems to have come out from it. Except of course there was a lot of panels and stuff around Alien Earth and Predator Badlands and stuff, and apparently all the panels for those weren't exactly the best. But before they did those type of things, they were doing interviews, and Alien Earth specifically we're looking at here because this new interview that has come out and what they're addressing and talking about timelines, not just is it confusing, it's actually quite concerning regarding what we can get from this show and where it could go. It's not sounding great, unfortunately. Now, the trailers looked great, the visuals effects and stuff looked great. They were all saying the right things to start with, but an interview with Variety is where things take this drastic turn in terms of what is going on. And then timelines and stuff like that, and what assistants and people are saying about the connection between this and the other movies. Yeah, it doesn't bode very well. So let's have a look at the main concerning part, which is the main actress herself for what she's just done. Which is insane when it comes to this article, to then knowing the fact that she had to go and do Comic-Con. So the headline from Variety for this article was, Alien Earth is wildly ambitious, expensive, and stars a talented actor who refuses to play by Hollywood's rules. Inside FX's risky bet for a new blockbuster series. That's the title. Now notice the part where it says doesn't play by the rules, because it starts off saying this. Her agent texts us, she's coming. Then, minutes later, her publicist writes, no, she is not coming. Spoke to her just now. Her stylist and glam are not responding. She's also very sick. It's the day of the photo shoot, and the star of FX's would-be summer smash is missing. Sydney Chandler, who plays Wendy on Alien Earth, is supposed to appear on Variety's cover with her co-star Timothy Olyphant and the show's creator Noah Hawley. One day before the shoot, though she had agreed to be photographed, Chandler made it known through reps that she wasn't willing to participate in the kind of video interview that is the standard ask at Variety, as at other publications. Prolonged negotiations continued until the morning of the shoot. So you're starting to see some diva behaviour here with this, really, aren't you? So at first, one of Chandler's reps voiced the actor's concerns about playing a game with two older men. In other words, her co-star and showrunner, who are respectively 57 and 58. So straight off, she's saying through her reps, she's uncomfortable with being there with two older guys, one of which was her boss, and the other is her co-star. That's insane to me. But it says the game, the comic test. How well do you know each other? Seemed innocent to us. Everyone from Ariana Grande to Ryan Reynolds to Daniel Craig has done it in the past. But to demonstrate good faith, we offered to show Chandler simple questions. Then, she sent a list of ones where we'd ask. We don't ever offer question approval, and there's good reason why. How many Alien films are there? Was high on Chandler's list. After that, she changed her mind and decided a game on video wasn't something she felt comfortable doing at all. Now, on the morning of the shoot, after some convincing from her agent, we hear she will come. Then Chandler decides, after all that, never mind, she can't make it. So you're hearing all of that and you're just like, what the hell is going on? This woman is meant to show up to this photo shoot, do a bit of an interview, but mainly show up to do a photo shoot with her co-star and the show's creator to promote this thing because she's the lead of the show, and she decides, I'm uncomfortable with being there with two older men and blah blah blah, I don't want to play the games, I'm not coming. That's insane. And of course this says everyone pretty much was shocked in what happened, and it said this is meant to be her in another interview saying, I'm just a private person, she says in a subsequent phone interview. She says her opting out was simply drawing a firm boundary, not a response to any problem. I'm new to the press. It's a bit out of my comfort zone. I was more than happy to talk about anything and everything about the show. That's what I'm here to promote. So that's what she said on the phone. She's saying she's uncomfortable and it's out of her comfort zone. She wants to set boundaries. This is the person who then had to walk onto a stage at Comic-Con in front of Hall H audiences of hundreds of people, where anyone can get up then and ask you a question and you think it's simply going to be a question about the series. They could ask you, hey, what's next in your career and stuff like that. What type of movies did you watch to prepare for the... Like, this is insane. And Noah Hawley sounds pissed about this as well. So it's saying, Hawley, the veteran TV creator who's made 5 seasons of Fargo for FX, is also dispirited by Chandler's absence from the shoot. And he said, the show was built around Sydney's character, and the work she did as a professional was tremendous, he said afterward. I'm disappointed that my female-centric show, that'll be concerning for people, based on a female-facing franchise, does not have my lead actress on the cover. It felt awkward to be there with Tim without her. He tells me he hasn't talked to Chandler about her decision, saying, I tend to feel like the promotional relationship that everybody has with the Disney Corporation is their own. I don't have to show run the publicity. So he's kind of backing out of saying, I don't have the power to bring her here, even though he's the showrunner, he should. So that's him kind of backtracking a bit to kind of get himself out of there if he gets asked, like, this is your lead actress, where the hell is she? But you can hear there that he's like, I'm pretty pissed off and disappointed that, you know, my show, she is the star of it, she is the lead of it, and she didn't bother coming to this whole interview. That is not a great look on her behalf. The fact that you were here to promote this thing and you couldn't be bothered, because the weirdest explanation is, I felt uncomfortable and didn't want to be there to play a game of basically how well do you know each other with 2 older men that I'm currently working with. Yeah, that is weird. But then, of course, it got weirder when it came to timelines and stuff, and what do I actually expect from this show? By the way, they did show the first episode of the series at Comic-Con, and the reviews seem to be fairly positive. There's next to no reviews. There's only like a handful of them for some reason, but yeah, they seem to be fairly positive. Some of them are kind of saying, like, you know, it is a bit slow, but you can see where it's going to go and stuff, but that's interesting. But this is what Noah Hawley said before when he got asked about what timeline is this show in, like, where can we place it in the universe? And he said this, I think we exist somewhere around Aliens, around the James Cameron story. I haven't had to get crazy specific with it, but the events of the first film are referenced in the show at some point. So I think it's somewhere around the events of the second film, either before or just after. That's what he said. This is the guy who created this thing, is saying we're in and around the James Cameron story, either before it or after it. That's where we are. And then we got a date in the trailer. A date that says 2120. Why is that an issue? Well, that's a big issue because that is about 79 years before Alien. Not Aliens, Alien. So this thing is absolutely nowhere near the time period that he is saying it's in. And if he's saying we're going to reference events from the first movie in this, which is something they can't do because this would clearly be set before that is weird and doesn't make sense. And then it got more confusing when they decided, okay, they're absolutely abandoning all plot elements that were introduced in Ridley Scott's Prometheus and Alien Covenant and says this thing exists parallel to the film franchise. FX Entertainment president Gina Balian said, everything doesn't have to fit together the way you expect from Marvel. Fans don't expect that in this universe. It doesn't have the same pressure. Right there, they're saying this exists parallel to the original movies, but we're not actually connected to the original movies. This is confusing. How can they say this is a parallel to the other franchise? We're not actually connected to that. And at the same time, Noah Hawley saying, yeah, we're in and around James Cameron's Aliens, and we're even going to reference stuff from the first movie at some point in the show. What is going on? This is not great if they are all over the place, that they don't even understand. And remember, I say this every time, but it has to be constantly brought up. Noah Hawley flat out refused to speak with Fede Alvarez when he was making Alien Romulus. He wanted to talk with him so they could get things worked out in terms of, hey, where does Alien Earth take place? You know, are we connected in some way? Are we around the same time period? What's going on? And Noah Hawley flat out refused to speak with Fede Alvarez. And now they're saying there's no pressure because we're chasing. So if this show fails, all of it is Noah Hawley's fault. There's no ifs, buts, or ands about that. It's Noah Hawley's fault. The fact that he clearly has no control over his lead actress doesn't help the fact of the matter, does it? That, hey, we're meant to do this promotional photo shoot to promote the show. Oh, she couldn't be bothered to show up. By the way, she's only 29 and she's pulling this shit. That says to me that if this show comes out, if it stumbles a bit but they're willing to give it another season, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney either try and put her in her place or they demand that they recast. They could, like, in fairness, we don't know whether she survives throughout this show and stuff. But there's other issues now with this, in the fact that her character and all the other characters around her, they're all kids. Yeah, so we know that her consciousness is that of a dying child, that's, I believe, a 12-year-old that's uploaded into the synthetic body. So are all the other people around her. They are all synthetics, but with the consciousness of kids. They even did tests, like brought in this coach to teach them to like play like kids and stuff, which is just weird. But when you're thinking, okay, you're gonna actually have what we're looking at as adults, but realistically they're meant to be kids facing the horrors of xenomorphs and other aliens that are going to do crazy, horrible, gruesome things. They're going to be kids that are meant to be witnessing this. And if there's any kind of sexual stuff shown in here, that's going to be really concerning and kind of like, uh-oh. But the thing then that he said in that article, which is going to turn a lot of people off, is my female-centric show. That immediately is going to have people going, and I'm out. So, yeah, Alien has always been led by a woman, but at the same time, they're always surrounded by strong other people, especially strong men. Either way, it's not looking great when you start seeing all this stuff with your actress refusing to show up to do interviews and photo shoots. You're confusing people over the time frame, saying we're going to mention Alien in this movie and we're somewhere around Aliens, but the date of the show has you about 79 years before the event of Alien. And then the president of entertainment at FX coming out and saying, yeah, we're actually not attached to the other movies at all. Doesn't bode great, does it? We'll have to wait and see what exactly we get out of this. But yeah, I'm quite concerned now when hearing all this, and for every bit of information that keeps coming out now, it's getting to that point of, yeah, you guys need to stop talking. We'll see what happens. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.